Ahoy mates! We were recently on board Star of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's newest ship and currently the largest ship in the world. And what you're about to see is our video tour of that vessel. We're going to go deck by deck, start at the bottom, work our way up and show you all of the public areas that you can find on board. So let's go ahead and get this started. Our tour of Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas begins right now. Before we get started, let's go over the elevator system that's debuted on Icon of the Seas, and it is far superior to anything else. So you come up to these digital touchscreens and they're all throughout the elevator bay area on different sides. Some are in the middle, and you just touch whatever deck you need. So even if you're getting off, you can hit the main gangway, accessible gangway, hit whatever deck you need, and it'll tell you which letter to go to. It lights up. Spin around. I'm letter J. I don't know why it said to go that way because it was clearly this way. And then you just wait here. You wait for J. When the doors open, you get on. You don't have to press another button. You don't have to tell it which deck you're going to. It already knows, and it'll take care of that for you. So it just announced elevator J is going down.
Elevator J going down.
There we go. Got the nice video boards here. You do still have your directory up top, but again, nothing else to press once you're on board, and it'll even tell you what deck it's stopping at next. Okay, and now we begin the official tour here, starting with deck number 3. Now you'll notice the directory goes to 2, but as you can see there, it's just the gangways and the accessible gangways. If you're in port to get off, you would access those. To do that, not really anything to show. So really what we're concerned with, we'll start here on deck 3, and there is, you'll notice, no deck 1 for public use. So we're here on deck 3 at the forward elevator bays. Again, kind of seen the one from up above. Now we get to see it here. It's a nice rounded area, but we're at the forward section, and we'll turn all the way forward. Here is where you will find the medical center, so you just come in here if you need attention from the medical team. And it's funny, on most ships this is where we would end this deck. Usually I just show the medical center and we move on to the next deck, but that's not the case here on Star of the Seas. We're going to continue on back. We have a couple of things to see, kind of spread out by some staterooms. We'll go start heading aft. And just off the forward elevator bays, we find the entrance to the music hall, which is a mixed-use space, and they're kind of advertising some things that'll be going on throughout the cruise here on the digital display. Very cool illuminated entry, and as the name would suggest, and the drum set and the speakers would suggest as well, music is going to be at the center of attention here during the evening. They'll have musical performances, live music, sometimes karaoke, sometimes trivia, and you can see it's actually a pretty big space. They have lots of seating throughout, and they do have the bar in the back as well. Now, like music hall on other ships, it is 2 stories, so we'll see the upper deck in just a little bit. As we continue making our way aft, I want to point out there's no way to continue through from music hall. We actually need to go out and head down the stateroom corridors to get to our next public area at the midship or aft elevator bays. And I guess I should go ahead and clarify, on a lot of ships they do call it midship, but this ship, Star, they call it aft. So if I say forward elevators, it's at the front, aft is going to be towards the rear. Alright, so after a walk down the stateroom corridor, we've arrived at the aft elevator bay, and you can see this one's actually a little bit bigger than the forward elevator bay, and even has the touchscreens here in the middle posts. Now, if we turn and face back forward, we'll find the entrance to the conference center, which you can see this is currently set up as a press room area, so we're not going to be able to tour the conference center, but there's usually not too much to see anyway. So just know, if you have a group on board, or you need some group space, you need to rent something out, you can utilize the conference center here on deck 3. Now, just across from the entrance to the conference center, we will find the entrance to the main dining room. Now, as you can see, they're having a meeting in there right now, so we'll try to get a look at it from up above. And with that completed, we have covered deck number 3, and we're ready to go to deck 4. Alright, up on deck 4 now, we are at the aft elevators again. We're going to turn aft here and go right into the entrance to the dining room. So like I mentioned, down on deck 3, we couldn't really get in there because they were having a meeting, but we'll just come in here on deck 4 because it is actually open down below. Per the usual, that's usually how it is on the cruise ships. It's kind of open air between the decks. And this will just give us a good idea of what the main dining room looks like and what it has to offer. Beautiful chandelier there in the middle, and you can see it's open air up to deck 5 as well. So we won't go in on deck 5 because it's all going to pretty much look like this. You're going to have the windows on the sides, the tables in the middle, and the beautiful decor, of course. Now, just off the aft elevators as we head forward, we will enter into Casino Royale. And it's going to be your typical casino setup, tons and tons of slot machines scattered throughout the entire area. But of course, they will also have the table games, craps, roulette, blackjack, Texas Hold'em, all of your favorites. TVs, usually playing live sports. They will have bar in here as well. And I will point out the ashtray here, so it is at least partially smoking area, usually designated by the symbols there on the machines. They also have a VIP area. Here's a good look at all those TVs. Most of the table games here in the middle. The slot machines on the perimeter, and then our casino bar in the very middle of the casino area. Now we can exit the casino off to the side here, but we're actually going to continue going forward because this is where we will find the upper deck entrance into Music Hall. Now, of course, you can access this from the lower deck of Music Hall. There's a stairwell inside the area, inside the room here that you can use, but if you're outside of it, you can get into Music Hall from the casino as well. So we see our view down below there from the upper deck here. So it's just additional seating up here. Some ships have pool tables and things like that up on top. Not here on Star of the Seas, we just have an additional bar space and some additional seating. Checking back in at our map here, we started and saw the dining room, then we came through in the casino, and you can see there's a stairwell up to the Royal Promenade. We continue forward through the Music Hall. Now we're at the very forward section of Deck 4, and that's where we'll find the entrance to the Royal Theatre. And on Star of the Seas, the main attraction of the Royal Theatre is Back to the Future, the musical. But there will be other shows throughout here, and sometimes other events as well held in the Royal Theatre, and you can also access it from Deck 5, as you can see up above there. But let's get a look here at our theater space. Pretty standard theater setup. Not too much special going on in here, at least right now. But during showtime, it will really light up. And just real quick, here's a view from the upper level. So with the theater covered, we have actually finished Deck 4 and we're ready to go to Deck 5. Alright, lots to see here on Deck 5, and I'll kind of refer to this as the Promenade Deck. One, because we'll be able to access the Royal Promenade here, but two, because you can actually head outside and go on the Promenade Deck area, which is where you will find the jogging track. So here at the forward elevator bay on Deck 5, you see the entrance to the Royal Theatre for Deck 5. Of course, we've already seen the inside of that. What we're going to do is turn here, go on the starboard side, or you can go on the port side. I'm going to go on the starboard side, though, and we'll head out to that jogging track, and we'll actually head forward to the fitness center. And we see our jogging track down below here, broken up into the different lanes. And if you want to know the distances, there's a look at the map and the distance chart. Now, we head forward. Right outside the entrance of the fitness center, I'll point out they have a water fountain and a bottle refill, because that can always be handy. Let's head inside. So we have our resistance machines, our free weights, kettlebells. Over on the side we have treadmills pointed outside looking out the porthole windows. We have biking machines, rowing machines, all your typical usual stuff. Dumbbells, benches, free weights, and a selection of machines looking out the porthole windows on the other side as well. And you'll find things scattered throughout like scales, fresh towels, and even lockers. And as we saw earlier, access to Deck 6 Motion Studio via the elevator lobby for ADA or handicap. I'm going to go ahead and take the stairs up here though. So they have some consultation desks and some towel and waters right when you come up, and then they're going to have these different classroom and instructional areas set up through here as well. And there's also the spin room. Back on our jogging track to get back to the forward elevator bays, want to point out here on the port side, still forward just outside the fitness center, this is the pet relief area if you have a service animal on board with you. Checking back in with our map, we saw the entrance of the Royal Theatre and we saw the fitness center, so now we're going to turn and head back and we're going to enter the Royal Promenade. And I should clarify and say we're going to enter the lower deck of the Royal Promenade because there are two decks here. My favorite feature of Icon class ships is that the upper deck of the Royal Promenade is fully transversable on either side. You won't hit a dead end like you do on Oasis class ships, so I really appreciate that. This is going to be kind of a circle here. I'm going to start over here on the port side, we'll work our way down and then come back up over on the starboard side. And we'll start with our shopping area, beginning with Solera Beauty, selling all kinds of cosmetics. Next door to that we find Effie, selling jewelry. And next to that, a Royal Caribbean staple of Sorrento's. Of course, this is the pizza place on board Royal Caribbean ships, and it is included with your cruise fare. So you can come and help yourself here. They are usually open late. Usually every day we'll have pepperoni, cheese, and vegetarian, and then a special pizza that rotates throughout the day. So just come in, let them know what you want, and they will help you out with that right there. And I should also point out a couple of Coke Freestyle machines here. So if you have any of the beverage packages, starting with the soda package all the way up to the deluxe beverage package, you will receive that souvenir tumbler that you can utilize at these Coke Freestyle machines throughout the cruise ship. So I'll try to point those out as we see them. You can also find the locations listed in the Royal Caribbean mobile app. I think it's under like drink stations or beverage stations. It'll list where all of these are on the ship. But even if you don't have a drink package, you can help yourself some ice water here, or you can pay for a beer. If you have the drink package, they can just get you that beer right there. Next to Sorrento's, we will see a little shopping island here. So during the hours of operation, which is typically when you're out at sea, not at port, that's when the shops will be open, and that's when that would be open as well. Now this is right next to the shop, which features Royal Caribbean merchandise, and here specifically, Star of the Seas merchandise. So if you're looking for your hoodies, your hats, your keychains, anything that says Star of the Seas or anything along that line, this is where you will find that when it is open. And next to that, this beautiful white sphere is the Pearl. It is just basically a large art installation. It has all kinds of lights, kinetic energy, moving parts, and does operate as a stairwell to get up to the upper deck as well. Now behind the Pearl, we will find a sitting area as well as this desk, which I think is typically operating as the Focus photo gallery. That's where it was on Icon. I think it can be a mixed-use space. This crew member's shirt does say Focus, so if you're having trouble with your photos, I think this is where you'll be coming. Now past the Pearl, we will find guest services. This is open 24 hours a day. If you're having any issues at all, you can come visit them here, and they will help get that situated. And there's even this little offhand desk too, probably to help with smaller questions maybe, or internet? Not sure. Next to guest services, we find Port Merchants, which is selling alcoholic drinks and some snacks, some medicines in the back there. And then this little section labeled Pavilion on 5, which just has watches and kind of jewelry. Actually, it's mostly just watches available for sale. That does kind of help us make our roundabout here. We'll now be on the starboard side, heading back forward. And the first thing we'll come across is the Next Cruise desk. This is where you want to come if you want to book your next cruise while you're on board, and they will give you a great offer for that. Some onboard credit, usually maybe a price discount. You'll usually have reduced deposits as well, so you want to come here, and it is always worth it. People ask me, is Next Cruise worth it? Yes, of course it is, because they are going to have the same offers that you'll have back on land, but they're going to add those extra features in. And even if you don't know which cruise you want to go on, they're showing you all kinds of great options here. You can put down your deposit and do the book now, choose later program, where you'll have 2 months to choose your cruise once you get back home and have it assigned, and then you'll still get those offers. And if you can't make your decision within 2 months, you do have a full year before your deposit is forfeit. Now, of course, any booking you make here at the Next Cruise desk can be put right under our travel agency. Just let them know you want to do that. And if for some reason there's any issues with that, just let us know when you get back. We'll get it transferred over to us. And important to note, this section is also doubling as the Crown and Anchor Society. So if you have an issue with your loyalty program or questions, you can visit these desks here, right next to whatever's going on right here, across from a skateboarding dog. Next up, we have the Thorn and Thistle, which is the pub on board, and it's going to have the standard pub features that I always talk about, the dark woods, the low lighting, but it's a lot bigger, I think, than other pubs that we've seen. It does have the small stage tucked back up here for live music performances, usually in the evening. The seating does even wrap around, and then of course we have our bar in the middle. Oh, and the tables even have these little ring games on them. That's cool. Haven't seen that before. Next to that, we will find our gangway area. So if you're getting off in port or coming back on, you'll utilize these escalators here to help you do that. And then we'll also find the doors where you'll actually board the ship when you come on during boarding day, embarkation day, and probably disembarkation day too, through these doors which head out to the promenade deck there. And we see we have this nice little seating area at the 1400 bar. So bar right there in the middle. Next up, we will find the Starbucks location on board, serving up all your favorite beverages and even some snacks for purchase there. And of course, the fun souvenir mugs and tumblers and all that good stuff. Past Starbucks, we will find the collection, which is going to be a collection of handbags and purses, it looks like. And lastly, we will find Spotlight Karaoke. I think the name pretty much tells you what you need to know. This is the karaoke bar on board, so that's what's going to be featured here. Now, they might do other things throughout the cruise in this space as well, but that is going to be the main feature. And they typically have private rooms that you can pay to rent out as well. So just ask about that if that's available, and you do have your bar over here to the side. And with that, we've completed our circle, which is good because they're about to start practicing for the parade. So now we're going to head back past the Pearl all the way into the aft section. Okay, so we've exited the Royal Promenade. Now we are at the aft elevator bay, and wanted to point out here is the entrance to the top level of the dining room, which of course we saw from down below. And looking back at our map here, it looks like we have covered everything here on deck 5, so we are ready to go on to deck number 6. Alrighty, deck number 6 now. Lots of fun stuff to see here, and I would like to point out, I believe the Icon class of ships has the best layout of any cruise ship I've ever been on, except for right here. Deck 6 is where that gets called a little into question. I think it was just kind of because that's where stuff had to go because it was where it was left over. This is where it gets a little confusing. I'll do my best here. So we're at the aft elevators. We're going to turn aft, and you see those doors there said Surfside. So if you want to enter the Surfside neighborhood, you actually go out right here. Now, here's the weird part though. As soon as you come out through these doors, you're greeted by a giant watermelon and flamingo, but you then go up the stairs to get out to Surfside. So really Surfside's up on 7, you can just access it here from 6. So that's the kind of first weird thing. Now, we're gonna pause the weird part. Let's turn here, and we see the entrance to Adventure Ocean, which of course is the kids club on board. Nothing really weird about this, it's just not where it usually is, but I think they wanted to put it next to Surfside since that's kind of the kids and family area. Let's take a look at Adventure Ocean and see what it has to offer. So right when we come in, we can see that it's a very, very colorful entryway. Lots of bright colors here, lots of cool drawings, got some cloud lights up above, different shapes, colors all around here on the floor, on the walls, on the ceiling, and we even have one of these little touch-to-play games. You just scan your little SeaPass card there or your WoW band, and you can play those. Those are complimentary. And then we continue on through the fun, colorful hallway. It's quite a long entryway to get back into the main area here. And then we'll start splitting off into the different rooms, starting first with AO Babies. This is the nursery on board, 6 to 36 month old. And here is a look inside that nursery. As you can see, it's pretty basic. It's just kind of a little standard little play area. And as we turn around from that, we will find AO Juniors, 3 to 5 years old in this room. As you can see, it's a little bit of a step up from the nursery, a little bit bigger, but still just a general playroom area. Up next, we have the entrance to the AO Theater here. This is a really cool space. I love the artwork on the walls and the lights up on the ceiling. And as we turn, we see our curtain here. Of course, this is where they're going to have different kinds of show times, maybe some movies, some live theater, even do some puppet shows in here, all kinds of fun stuff. Next up, we have the hangout area. And we head inside here. This is for our oldest group of adventurers, 6 to 12 years old, and we see tons and tons of fun hangout spaces, TVs, video games. Attached to those TVs, usually when you see the consoles down below, that's what the TV, or that's what those are for, is that they have video game consoles in those, and so you can play those on the TV, but they might have other things going on at different times, and it just continues throughout here. You got the big, like, couch sectional area in the back, giant Connect 4 over here to the side, and then on this side, they even have some, like, kind of cubbied hangout, little private hangout areas. Some have tables, some are just relaxing areas. This is like a wall-mounted jukebox, for lack of a better term, digital media player maybe, and then they have these touch tabletop games that have all these different games you can play on them. It's like a giant touchscreen, like a giant tablet essentially. Foosball, another one of those touch to play games over there on the wall where you scan your SeaPass card or your WoW band to play for free over there on that side. And it all just continues throughout the area here. And then we have this entrance to the arena, which is basically like an indoor gymnasium space, for lack of a better term. It's a big kind of physical activity area where they might play different games in here. You do see they have different other activities set up, giant Connect 4, easels, things like that. But they also have this court over here with the nets, and they might play soccer, you might play dodgeball, something like that in here. This is where all the physical activity, group activities are going to take place inside of this area. Next up we have the workshop, and this is going to be kind of like the main arts and crafts area, or even a science area. So it's going to be a lot of group activities. You can see the art materials back there stacked up, ready to go, and you see all the different tables with the chairs set up here. So easels on the back as well, even drawing papers mounted on the wall. So definitely featuring arts and crafts in here, but it could be other activities as well. There's even a giant marker board over there on the side. And even got some windows here, though it's just looking out at lifeboats. Lots of tables and chairs throughout the area. Now, as we exit Adventure Ocean, this is where I think it gets really weird with the layout. You see the sign here says Playmakers and Absolute Zero with kind of the arrow here. As you turn in, you'll just see the Park West Art Gallery right here. And as you continue through, you'll see some shopping with sunglasses and bags, even some shirts. It's just kind of a weird area. You can look out the windows, back to the Watermelon and Surfside. But as you continue forward, this is where Playmakers is, the sports bar and arcade. And of course you can get food here, you can get drinks, you can come and watch the games, and you can even play the games. They even have billiards, foosball, things like that located throughout. So I will say this one in particular can get very busy during game day, especially like an NFL game day. I remember we were on Icon of the Seas when it was the NFL playoffs, and it was absolutely slammed in here, so just keep that in mind. But it's a great space nonetheless, and we have some more arcade games over here. Air hockey, like I mentioned, the pool table, foosball table, all that good stuff. Right here I want to point out is the owner's box. So this is kind of a private boxed off area that you can rent. This used to be free. At every Playmakers it was just first come, first serve. They've now started charging for it, and it includes foods and drinks. So just talk to the staff on board to see what kind of options you can have there if you want to do that. We'll point out there's a Coke Freestyle machine here. And then as we continue past this through Playmakers, this is where we'll find the entrance to Absolute Zero, which is the ice skating venue on board. So this is where you'll see the ice skating shows like Soul, which is phenomenal. Highly recommend checking that out. Or if they have free ice skating sessions or they're doing laser tag, something like that, you'll find that in here. As we go through the doors, you can see you can come down the stairs into the actual ice skating arena there. Or if we turn left, we'll find the entrance into Social 020, which is the teens area exclusively for 13 through 17. So as we come in, they have a nice, really cool entrance here. The graffiti all wall art and the lights there, I really like that actually. Teens get everything cool. Skateboards up on the wall, very cool tiered hangout spot with the giant TV across. Got the nice hanging swinging chairs there, little rocking chairs, some more cool wall art. Got the kicks on display. And it keeps going around here. We have the digital kind of like jukebox thing, media player. And then they have a foosball table, some touchscreen tabletop games, these little private booths that all have TVs in them. And the cabinets down below, I know usually mean video games. I can't promise that, but I know that's usually what is going on there. So they have several of those. Man, it just keeps going here. More swinging chairs. And then another like kind of cool hangout lounge space with a TV. So lots of options for the teens in here. They're tucked up in their own area. It's very hard to find this area if you don't know where you're going. Hopefully I've given you a good idea of how to get here. Let's have a quick look at what it looks like inside Absolute Zero when they are getting ready for showtime. Alright, let's stop back in our map here to get reoriented. So we're at the aft elevators. We saw the stairs to go up to Deck 7, Adventure Ocean, all together here on the port side. Over on the starboard side where you go through the shops, through Playmakers to Absolute Zero, or branch off to the teens area. So that's like what I said, kind of the confusing, not the best layout I've ever seen, but the rest of the ship I think makes a ton of sense. So we're going to head forward here, and now we're going to do the upper deck circle of the Royal Promenade. So right as we enter the Royal Promenade area, we'll see Pavilion on 6. Now, this one is showcasing other jewelry besides watches, and it is available on both sides. So up here we have a circle, just like we did down below. I'm going to start over here on the starboard side, work our way back around to the port. Mentioned Royal Caribbean staples earlier with Sorrento's, but if you really want to talk about it, it's the schooner bar. I believe this is on every single Royal Caribbean ship, and it's like the piano bar. It's always themed nautical. It's always got the dark woods, the ropes, the ship's wheel, bar right in the middle here, and then of course our piano over to the side. And as with most of the venues we're about to see here, they do have some bar rail seating and some tables and chairs up against the rail and the wall, where it's open to the lower deck of the promenade down below. Next up, we will find Giovanni's, the Italian restaurant. This is a specialty restaurant, I believe the first one we've seen. That means that it's going to come at an additional cost. It's not included with your cruise fare, but Giovanni's is typically well worth it. Very delicious. They do also have a bar out here in the middle, and again, the bar rail seating, even have some tables and chairs for dining along the outer rail there. Floor-to-ceiling windows over on this side, and it even looks back down to the bar down below, next to the boarding area that we saw before. And of course, pizza oven. Gotta have a slice. And I should clarify, this is Giovanni's Italian kitchen and wine bar. Back in the day, it was Giovanni's table. Both are great. Typically, the Italian kitchen is even better. The wine bar is great too, and usually offers snacks that you can purchase. Last venue here on the starboard side, we see the ebonies and the ivories. We have dueling pianos. I think the name is pretty self-explanatory. An additional piano bar on board. We see the two there in the middle facing each other. They will play all of your favorite hits, all your favorite sing-along songs, and they will duel it up. Typically in the evenings, this is a very popular spot. It gets incredibly crowded, so get here early. And just like we saw on Icon of the Seas, they have the digital art here on board Star of the Seas as well, which I really enjoy. And everyone's favorite prediction maker, Zoltar, right there. This is the entrance to the attic, which is a mixed-use space. Typically, it's going to be the comedy area, so where the comedy clubs are going to be. And as we see here on the signs, it actually says adults only, 18 and up. So let me see if we can get in here. So right when we come in, we have some nice lights, some graffiti art, and then there's a look at our space there. We have the stage in the middle, seating all around, TVs on the side. Nice setup. Continuing on down the port side, heading aft here, we do have a comfy seating section. And as we wrap around here, we open back up to the Pearl, and we see a stairwell that you can actually take up to Central Park. We'll see that in just a little bit, but I did want to point it out. Another Coke Freestyle machine as well. And then we have our included beverage stations here, cold and hot. We have some grab-and-go foods here. These are included with your cruise fare. Sandwiches, salads, fruits, things like that. We even have some hot bites you can get included. This is the Pearl Cafe, and as I mentioned, it is included with your cruise fare, and it is essentially Cafe Promenade for Star of the Seas. So I believe this is open 24 hours a day, and like I mentioned, included. You don't have to pay any additional for this. Behind the Pearl and next to the Pearl Cafe, some beautiful art installations, but also a very nice seating area. You can dine here, you can do some work, you can chat, have a drink, whatever you like. Floor-to-ceiling windows spanning quite the distance there, giving you those views. And actually right next to that, we have these kiosks that say Voom. So this is where you're coming if you're having internet package issues or questions. As we proceed past that, we see the sign says Boleros. This is the Latin Lounge, and I should consider this a Royal Caribbean staple too. This is on almost every ship, if not every ship. It is heavily featured. Big dance floor here in the middle. This place also gets pretty hopping at night. We have our stage right here for the performers, and then seating all throughout, including out here along the promenade, and then we'll have our bar tucked up on the back side. And now we're back at Pavilion on 6, so we have completed our upper deck circle, and now we can go back through to get to the forward part. Alright, now that we've wrapped up our circle of the upper deck Royal Promenade, we are at the forward elevators on deck 6. A couple of things to see here. As we turn and head directly forward, we'll find the entrance to the Crown Lounge. Now, as you can see by the sign, it's not open right now because we're on the trade sailing. They're using it for a private function area. But just know that this is where it's located. It's going to be the typical setup of a lounge area. There'll be a desk for help. There'll be a little hors d'oeuvres bar and drinks area, things like that. Now directly across from that is the entrance to the Royal Escape Room, and one thing we've noticed, at least on our sailing, is they're offering 2 different themes of the escape room. Both are kind of retro. One's like a record shop and one's like a diner. Now it does cost additional to do the escape room. I wish I could tell you how much it will be. On our sailing it was free, so I don't really have the pricing. I know it used to be like 20 bucks a person, and on other ships they've gone way up past that. You'll just have to check on your sailing because it can change, but if you do book the escape room, this is where you will find it. And of course, back on our map here, we see the upper level of the fitness center, but we already saw that. We went up from inside the fitness center, so that means we have completed deck number 6, and we can head to deck 7. Beginning deck 7, and as you can see, forward and mid, nothing listed. If we look at our map, it's because those are just staterooms in those areas. We need to go all the way aft to see the Surfside neighborhood. So now at the aft elevator bay here on deck 7, we will turn and head directly aft all the way to the back. We will exit out to Surfside, and like I mentioned down below, we saw those stairs from deck 6, but here deck 7 is where Surfside actually is located. And then again, this is kind of the kids and families neighborhood. Everyone's welcome, but it's just that it's going to be catered a little bit more towards that demographic, and it basically takes the place of the boardwalk neighborhood from Oasis class ships. Now we have another circle to make here. We'll start on the starboard side. First up is Surfside Eatery. You can see they have the tables and chairs along the outside here, but there's also an indoor section as well, and this is essentially a secondary buffet. So you know the Windjammer is going to be the main buffet area. This is like a secondary buffet, so it's included with your cruise fare, and you can see there they have the little serving stations set up like the micro buses, which is pretty cool, and then there's additional seating inside as well. Next to that, we'll find a towel station, which is handy. You don't have to go up to the main pool deck for towels. And we will find Sprinkles, which is our included soft serve ice cream spot. So if you want to grab a cone, that's where you can do that. And that's right next to Surfside Bites, which is also included. This is an included snack eatery. You can see here on the menu board what all they have to offer, and you don't have to pay additional for any of it. Off of that, we have our condiment station, our beverage station included. And we see our sign that says soda machine pointing this way, and there's our next Coke Freestyle machine. Next to that is one of our favorite spots on board Icon or Star of the Seas, which is the Lemon Post Bar. The reason we like it, aside from the fun lemon decor and decorations, is it offers standard alcoholic beverages, but it also has a full menu of non-alcoholic beverages, including what we call the adult Capri Suns. Unfortunately, they don't have any out right now to show you, but it's basically like if you picture a Capri Sun, like a big kind of Ziploc bag with a straw in it, and they're delicious. They have these non-alcoholic ones. All of them are fantastic. Here on the back side, we'll see the entrance to the Ultimate Family Townhouse. That's a special suite, and if you want to see it, check out our video where we did the room and suite categories on board Star of the Seas. That's in our Star of the Seas playlist. We'll find a seating area here, and then the baby bay, a little splash play area for the young ones here, right on the back side of the ship, so you can get those beautiful wake views as you're sailing, or beautiful views of port, like Perfect Day at CocoCay here. Next to that, we have the main pool area in this section, which again, right on the back, up against the glass, kind of have the shallow shelf here, even have some seats built in. Then you have the deeper section that goes right up against the glass, right under the Crown and Anchor logo. Across the area there, we'll have some spinning water wheels, some splash buckets, and even the big dump bucket there at the top, plus all of the smaller slides in this area. And lots of seating and table and chairs throughout the area. Here's a better look from the front at the splash play area. It's got the foam padded floor, all the sprayer jets, the bubblers, the wheels, the buckets, all that fun stuff. Now over on the port side, first thing we'll find here is Pier 7. Now this is a specialty restaurant. Most specialty restaurants are kind of catered towards adults, although anyone's welcome. This one is catered towards families, and it's going to be a smaller venue here. See the tables and chairs there. And again, because it's a specialty restaurant, it does come at an additional cost. But if you want to partake in that, this is where you'll find it. Next to that, we'll find the fun Lucky Climber area and dry slide. And beyond that, we will find Sugar Beach, and that's where you can get all of your favorite candies and usually some specialty ice cream as well. Always coming at an additional cost, but if you want to partake, this is where to go. Up next, we have our arcade on board, which does come at an additional cost. And I always like to let people know that if you know you're going to be playing in the arcade during your cruise, you should purchase your arcade credits ahead of time on the My Royal Cruise section. of the Royal Caribbean website or mobile app, as you will get a 20% discount on those arcade credits. They do have a prize hub here, so you can redeem your virtual tickets from your SeaPass card or your arcade card, and you can get prizes. So lots of fun here. If you don't want to use a SeaPass card, you want to give the kids an arcade card, you can do that at the machines. And then it continues going on through here: claw games, prize games, air hockey, big bass, skee ball, basketball, racing, all kinds of fun stuff. One last thing to point out on this side is another dry slide. You can take the stairs up to deck 8 there and utilize that dry slide that comes down here on deck 7. But one final thing to point out for the Surfside area in general is the carousel. Again, I mentioned this kind of takes the place of the boardwalk neighborhood from Oasis class ships, which also always featured a carousel. Well, here at Surfside, they have one as well. But this one's a lot more colorful, a lot more fun, a lot more whimsical, I think. And it is free to ride, included with your cruise fare. And now that we've done the Surfside wraparound, we have completed deck number 7, and we are ready to go to deck number 8. Deck number 8 now, and this is kind of an interesting one. There's a big area to see here, which is the Central Park neighborhood. Besides that, just a couple of little things at the forward and the aft. So we're at the aft elevators. Let's turn aft, head back outside towards Surfside. We come outside, and I mentioned that slide, that dry slide you could take down is right there. Next to that, Sunshine and Sundries, a little shop here. The name kind of tells you what they have. Sunscreen, swimming mask, goggles, little toys and lanyards. And now we will head directly forward into Central Park. Now Central Park comes over from the Oasis class ships, and if you're not familiar with it, it is a completely open air area that features live plants and trees throughout the entire neighborhood. So these are real plants. These are actually living, breathing plants that they take care of and keep cultivated here. So this is, again, open air. You can see right up to the sky there. And it's a really nice place to come and relax. But there's actually a lot of fun stuff along the way. We have another circle to do. Let's kick over to the starboard side. And we're going to start with this little shopping section here with watches and jewelry and all of those different brands there. If those mean anything to you, it's just a big jewelry store in there, mostly selling watches. Beyond that, we will find the entrance to Park Cafe, and there is outdoor seating here in front of me as well as behind me, but you can also head inside where you'll find the different foods they're serving up. Grab-and-go sandwiches, fruits, they have hot soups, they have hot sandwiches. You can carve you up some roast beef and things like that. They have a salad bar here, grab-and-go bags of chips, and a beverage station across. This is included with your cruise fare, no additional cost to dine here at Park Cafe, and there's also a Coke Freestyle machine in here as well. Next up on the starboard side, we'll find the Trellis Bar, the bar that is located under a trellis. What do you know? Well, kinda. It was more so a trellis on the other ships, but it's a bar nonetheless. And finally on this side, we will find Chops Grill, which is the steakhouse of Royal Caribbean. They have a nice outdoor seating section here. Now, this is a specialty restaurant. It is going to come at an additional cost, and they do, of course, have dining inside as well. So here's a quick look at the interior of the restaurant. Now we'll jump across over here to the port side section of Central Park in this beautiful metallic tree, and this is where we will find Izumi Hibachi and Sushi, both specialty restaurants, so both coming at an additional cost. And of course the hibachi is going to be the standard hibachi tables. Sushi is just going to be, they're bringing the food to you at the regular table. So you can see they have the sushi bar over there in the back, and then we have hibachi table 1, hibachi table 2, 3, 4, and 5. So lots of space in here, but this is still a very popular venue, so be sure to grab those reservations and get here early. And just off the main restaurant here, we have Izumi in the Park. So this is a really cool feature that they added on Icon of the Seas, and now it comes over to Star of the Seas. It's more of a grab-and-go Izumi. So you see they have the little walk-up window here, and you can just pay additional to get some of these options. Still a specialty restaurant, so it's still coming at an additional cost, but they do have the very fun signature bubble cones with the delicious ice cream inside. Heading back now, I'll point out the entrance to the Royal Promenade. This is that stairwell that I showed earlier by the Pearl. And our final venue to see here in Central Park is Lou's, and as this art piece might suggest, this is a jazz club, jazz bar area on board. Looks like they're doing some rehearsing right now, so it's not quite open, but it's a nice seating area in there, and you could come and listen to some live jazz music, typically in the evenings. Reorienting on our map here for deck 8, we saw the little shop at Surfside, and then we came into the Central Park Circle. You can see most of forward part of deck 8 is staterooms. One small thing to see here right off the forward elevator bay, though, is the Lincoln Park Supper Club. So we saw, what was it, the Empire Supper Club? Debuted on Icon of the Seas. Here they have the Lincoln Park Supper Club on Star of the Seas. And as you can see, this is a very small, intimate space. It is a specialty dining, so it does come at an additional cost, quite a high cost. But you can see you're going to have live entertainment with your meal. Check that off and check off deck number 8. We are done with that. And I'll just go ahead and point out here, you see on our directory, no deck 9, no deck 10, no deck 11 listed. Do they not exist? No, of course they do, but they are just staterooms. If we look at our map here, staterooms all the way across. So nothing to see here for deck 9, 10, or 11. Really not too much to see on deck 12 either, but let's go ahead and skip on up to that one. All right, we've done our little skip here, jump ahead, and now we're on deck 12. And as we can see, again, most of this deck is even staterooms, but there is an entrance here to the Vitality at Sea Spa. As it says, the main entrance is on deck 14, but you can enter here on deck 12, at least usually. They have it closed off right now, so we're not going to go through there, but just know that that technically is there. And man, that one was pretty easy. We're already done with deck 12. There is no deck 13 on this ship, so we're going to go ahead and skip on up to 14. Well, not really skip, it's just next. Deck 14. All right, deck number 14 now. Again, much like deck 12, mostly just staterooms, but we will find that actual main entrance to the Vitality at Sea Spa right here off of the forward elevators. And we'll also find the Vitality Cafe, where for an additional charge you can purchase smoothies, power shakes, fresh juices, and even bubbles. Mimosas, bellinis, specialty coffees, all can be purchased here or included with a refreshment or deluxe beverage package. Nice to see that on board here. And then we'll have our waiting area and our check-in area for the spa right there. So if you have a treatment, you'll check in here. And we see our to dry for. So inside to dry for, this is where you can get hair treatments done. For sure, this is like a salon on board. But I also believe they do nail treatments here. I'm not overly versed in this kind of stuff, but I'm believing that's the case to be had in here. Yeah, so we can see over there being some pedicures, I believe, manicures, and of course the hair treatments, like I mentioned, all being done in this area. Next up, we have the barber shop, which is where you can get a haircut and a shave on board. Not nearly as big of an area as the salon was, but it is here nonetheless. Right next to that, we have the rooms that are labeled as Renew, and I believe these are kind of like rejuvenation rooms. They do different treatments, like IV treatments, things like that. And then we'll spin around from the desk here, we'll turn, and we'll head into the thermal suite area. Always fun to get to see one of these areas on board. One of our favorite aspects of any spa is a thermal suite. Do have the water fountains with the bottle refills right as you come in. We'll turn here and see one of the showers. It's got the cool lighting, different colors, and different shower effects that can be had inside. And then over on this side, we will see the steam room, which of course is steamy. Just around the bend here, we see these tile chairs, lounge chairs, usually heated. Got the towels wrapped up and ready to go there. And just around the corner is our infrared sauna. So we saw the steam room that was wet. Sauna room, typically dry, but hot nonetheless. It's a pretty big room, actually. And then we'll turn around the corner. We see our heated tile chairs again, and then another entrance to the shower area over here. Lights, cool effects, colorful tiles, all that jazz. Now looking back at our map here, we see the spot, and you see this, the overlook, but as it says, access via deck 15 only. So technically down on 14, but you only get to it from 15. So we are done with deck 14, and we'll go ahead and head up to that aforementioned deck 15. Okay, as you can tell by our directory here, deck 15 is pretty busy. A lot of things to see here on this deck. We're going to start by turning forward, and we're going to enter into the Aquadome. So the Aquadome takes over the place of the Aqua Theater from Oasis class ships. This is where you will find your water shows with the high diving and the water aerobics and synchronized swimming and slackline performances and all that. The main show here on this ship is named Torque, and it will be performed right over there. So you can see they have the seats here built-in bench seating, wraps all around. This is a completely enclosed venue. So rain or shine, they can still perform as long as the seas aren't too crazy to prevent them from being able to dive safely. They will have the aqua shows in here and be able to do a lot more cool effects than they could do in the standard aqua theater. So loved aqua action on Icon of the Seas. Have not yet seen Torque here on Star of the Seas, but I know it's going to have a special feature of some motorcycles involved in the show. So curious to see how that is implemented. Now if we turn over here to the port side, we will see the entrance to Hooked Seafood. This is another specialty restaurant, so it's coming at an additional cost. You can see they do have some dining tables here outside of the restaurant, and then most of the tables will be inside the restaurant, right next to the raw bar here in the middle. Beautiful views out of those floor-to-ceiling windows. So just past Hooked and actually wrapping around the Aqua Theater Performance area, the Aqua Dome Theater Performance area, we find the overlook, which we saw on the map. Remember, it said it was only accessible from deck 15, even though it's on deck 14. So first you do have these little seating areas and even elevated seating pods, which is pretty cool. Floor-to-ceiling windows here. This is essentially going to be what I like to call a dry solarium. So we've seen the solarium on other Royal Caribbean cruise ships. It's kind of like that, because it's at the forward part of the ship and it's glassed in, but there's no pools and hot tubs and things like that. There are bars, there are lounges, couches, day beds, beautiful views, but that's it. There's no actual water flowing through this area. Now over on the starboard side of the Aquadome, we find Royal Bling. This is a shop that sells very, very expensive jewelry, including this chalice, which is currently covered with a golden cloth, but I know it's thousands and thousands of dollars. So if you're looking to drop some cash, this is where to come. Just past that, we find a returning favorite from Icon of the Seas, the Aquadome Market, which is like a food hall area. This is included with your cruise fare. Very popular on Icon of the Seas. Pretty much the same thing here, except they actually have some different options, as you can see from the menus here. So of course they'll have the complimentary beverage station. And then they're going to have seating throughout the different areas, and here are those different food hall areas and the bar as well. The different vendors, different stations, I should say, all set up here. Just walk up, tell them what you would like, and they will dish it right out for you. And again, this is all included with your cruise fare. And off on its own here, creme de la creme. And another included beverage station. And then I also want to point out that there is a Coke Freestyle machine in here as well. Alright, back outside the Aquadome at the forward elevator bays, we are going to turn here and head outside and enter the Chill Island neighborhood, and this is where we're going to come out into our main pool deck area. Now this is going to be pretty divided up, and just know there are going to be tables, chairs, day beds, sun loungers all throughout these decks, so I'm not going to keep pointing them out. They are just all throughout the area here. I'll point out over here on the starboard side right as we come out, there is a jacuzzi hot tub. We're going to come over here on the port side, and this is where we will find the fenced-in ping pong area, which is great, included with your cruise fare. It's nice it's fenced in so the balls don't go crazy and the wind doesn't blow them all over the place. Paddles and balls located right here. And this is pretty much what we're going to see as we head throughout. Again, chairs, tables, loungers, day beds, all throughout. Hot tubs scattered about. Showed you the one over on the starboard side. Here's one on the port side, out in the sun. The one on the starboard side was covered. This one, open air. Across from that, we'll find our first section of the Lime and Coconut Bar, our popular pool bar area. Started debuting on ships that were getting the Royal Amplification, and now is starting to become a Royal Caribbean staple. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. All right, a couple things to point out here. First, in the middle, it's completely open air down to Central Park. Second, across, you can see a pool area there with the kind of shallow shelf, and then the deeper section in the middle, the lounge chairs all around the sides. You see we have a dry slide here too. You actually access that from the next deck up, but it just ends right there. And then we're gonna have another pool area here on the side. This is a nice little wading pool that butts right up against the glass over the side of the ship, so you can get some great views here. All right, up next we see El Loco Fresh, and this is included with your cruise fare. No additional cost to dine here, and this is gonna feature some of your Tex-Mex favorites. Even has its own salsa bar, salsa station here with all your favorite toppings and hot sauces and things like that. So they're gonna have burritos, tacos, quesadillas, nachos and cheese, different things like that. They even have some fruit and chickpea cups over there as well. And right next to that, they do have a cantina bar. Checking back in on our map here, I should point out, I forgot to mention that inside of Hook Seafood is Celebration Table. This is kind of the new take on Chef's Table. Very intimate dining experience and additional cost because it is specialty dining. So if you have that booked, that's going to be inside of Hook Seafood there. Not really anything to show you, it's just a big table, but I forgot to point out that that's where that was. Now we saw the Aqua Theater, the Overlook, the Aquadome Market. Ryan Bean is kind of it's like a coffee bar and regular bar attached to it. I didn't really specifically point that out either, but just know that that's where it's at. Then we came out, we saw Lime and Coconut, and we saw this side of the pool deck up to El Loco Fresh. We're gonna head back around here and see the starboard side because there's a couple of different things to point out. Here's another look at that pool area that we saw from across earlier, and they have these like built-in, I said I was gonna point out the seating, but I thought these are worth pointing out. These kind of built-in bed loungers, which is really nice. All right, we saw the Lime and Coconut section over on the port side. There's one on starboard side here as well. It'll be actually spread throughout the entire pool deck area. Couple things I want to point out. We're going to see some casitas that you can rent up on deck 16, and you'll actually check in for those up on deck 16 as well. So just note that. Now, here in the middle between the two Lime and Coconut sections is another Sprinkles. Remember, we saw one down at Surfside. Here's one here up on the pool deck for some complimentary soft serve ice cream. Okay, back at the map to get reoriented. Aquadome area checked. Now our pool deck area down here on deck 15 check. Now we're going to pass through the aft elevators and enter into the Windjammer. And for the uninitiated, Windjammer Marketplace is the buffet of Royal Caribbean ships. So as you come in, you'll have your hand washing stations on either side here. And they're usually singing and chanting and playing music as well, welcoming you in. Now, this is going to take the same kind of setup we saw on Icon, as well as like newer Oasis ships like Wonder and Utopia, where you have the big floor-to-ceiling windows here in the middle, looking out over Surfside and looking up to the decks up above. Then you're going to have your food stations circling the perimeter. Now, starboard and port side are pretty much going to be the same. It's going to be like a mirror image. So your food station is going to kind of cut here as you come in, and then they'll take over being in the middle, and your seating is going to be on either side, either up against the windows we just saw, or the floor-to-ceiling windows on the outside looking out to sea or to the port. And of course, they'll have complimentary beverage stations throughout, and a bar and Coke freestyle machines in here as well. So it continues on back a little bit further, just more seating areas, more food service stations. It pretty much all looks like this. There is no outdoor seating section here on Star of the Seas. Back at the map, we can see a couple other things here. It says the hideaway access via deck 16 only. So that means we are done with deck 15. Let's go to that deck 16. Quite a few things to see here on deck 16, and it's a unique deck layout, as you can see. Lots of stuff in the aft section. The mid section is kind of cut out, really only on the port side, and then just kind of one area to see the sweet neighborhood at the forward section. So we're going to turn here off the aft elevators, and we're going to head outside directly back. And this is where we will enter the Thrill Island neighborhood, and starting with the deserted milkshake bar. Now this comes at an additional cost because they're doing those crazy over-the-top milkshakes and ice cream, things like that in here. Hello. And now we'll kick over to the port side, and this is where we will find Base Camp. So Base Camp is kind of like a snack area. It's not really grab and go, as you can see. You do place orders here, and this is what they have. I do believe this is included with your cruise fare. I think there was some discussion about whether it was going to be additional cost or if it was going to be included. I'm pretty sure it is included now, and so you place your order and they'll bring it to you. And they do have a condiment station and a Coke freestyle machine up here as well. I want to point out they have these little sit-down soccer things as well. Nice big covered seating section here for Base Camp. They even got some TVs playing some live sports up above. And there's a bar here on the back side. Now just across from Base Camp, we see the Lost Dunes. This is the mini golf course on board, themed after like a shipwreck or a deserted island kind of thing. And this is included with your cruise fare as well, so no additional cost to play mini golf. Now just past the Lost Dunes there, tucked away on the back side, we see the entrance to the Hideaway. And this is an adults only area, guests 18 and over. See there on the sign, this is located all the way on the back of the ship. So we're gonna have a couple of hot tubs here, a nice seating area, and then we're gonna have our main pool area down below there. We'll get the bird's eye view here. So a nice shallow shelf in the deeper section. They even have some spots to like lay down, like a day bed kind of thing. Spots to put your drinks down, and then it's infinity style right up against the glass, looking off the back of the ship. And there's also a tiered seating and sunbathing area here as well. Now just above the hideaway over here on the starboard side, we will find the Flow Rider, which is the surf simulator on board. Just the one here. Certain ships have two. This one only has one. There's the sign-up desk right over there. And you can see this is a surf simulator. Sometimes they'll do stand-up surfing, sometimes they'll do knee boarding, but this is included with your cruise fare and a nice seating area up above. All right, there's no avoiding the elephants in the room anymore. All these colorful snaking tubes all throughout. This is the Category 6 water park. Named for the 6 slides you can find on board, all included with your cruise fare, broken up into 2 towers. There's a tower over there where you can board some slides, and there's a tower here where you can board the Frightening Bolt and the Storm Chasers. And you can match the color and the symbols to figure out the height requirements. So 52 inches for the Frightening Bolt, 48 inches for the Storm Chasers, and here we have our other rules. So there's no jewelry, watches, cell phones, GoPros, or cameras, no food, no swim vests or shoes. They do have lockers, right? Or not lockers, cubbies in those barrels right there you can store your things at. For Storm Chasers, it's labeled as moderate. You have to be 48 inches like we mentioned, under 300 pounds, and only one person at a time. For the Frightening Bolt, it's considered extreme. You have to be 52 inches, also 300 pounds, and also one person at a time. So you see this sign that says Storm Chaser mats over there because Storm Chasers is a mat racing water slide. So it's going to be the 2 blue slides coming out of the top there. They're going to wind all around. You're going to be forward facing on a mat, doing all the loops and stuff, and then splashing down at the end. Frightening Bolt is going to be a trap door slide. So you're going to get in the canister, they're going to drop the floor out from under you, and then it's going to be a standard body slide from there, the orange slide that's circling around. And there's a look at the area where you pick up and drop off your mats for the Storm Chaser slides. And I really like this area because they themed the entire section. You do have lots of seating throughout here as well, like I mentioned for the rest of the pool deck. And then you're gonna get this like little bridge design here with the ropes. And the best part is the wet floor signs. Ah man, they don't have any out to show you right now, but they look like little banana peels. It's really cool. So here is our next tower of slides right here. This is where we're gonna have Pressure Drop, Hurricane Hunter, and Storm Surge. So we can see based on our sign here, Pressure Drop is 52 inches, while Storm Surge and Hurricane Hunter are 48 inches. Now the same standard rules apply here with things you can't take with you on the slides. They do have more of those barrel cubbies for you to store your items in, right next to this tower as well. Hurricane Hunter is listed as moderate. This is the family raft ride. You have to be at least 48 inches and your total combined weight has to be under 595 pounds. Only 4 people at a time or less. Max is 4. Storm Surge is also an extreme slide. This is also a family raft ride. You can tell they're bumping up the intensity though. Same height requirement, same weight requirement, and same max capacity of 4. Pressure Drop is our last extreme slide. This is a body slide. You have to be at least 52 inches, 300 pounds, and that's only one person at a time. So you can see the end of the 2 family raft rides here, the green and the pinkish purple one. They kind of do the different things. The green one has this little half pipe section where you kind of come up over the side of the ship. Really cool. That's why that one's a little bit more intense. I like the Pressure Drop though. That's the yellow one here. Very similar to the Serpent at Perfect Day at CocoCay. You just kind of do a straight drop right there. It's not a trap door. You just go whenever you're ready and quick splashdown here at the bottom. All right, reorienting on our map here. So we just finished up the Category 6 water park. Saw the Flow Rider down to the hideaway, Lost Dunes, and Base Camp. So we're gonna come out here on the port side now so we can see Adrenaline Peak and Crown's Edge. Then we'll continue forward. So right when we come out, we'll turn and we'll find Adrenaline Peak, which is the rock climbing wall. This is included with your cruise fare. And the weight limit is 310 pounds. Minors 12 years or younger must have a parent or guardian present with them. And you must be at least 6 years old to participate. Next to that is Crown's Edge. This is the ropes course on board. We saw it debut on Icon of the Seas. It's really not. I mean, it kind of is. You start out getting harnessed up there. You do get to walk across these little bridges, these platforms. They kind of take your picture. And then it's basically like a little zip line. It kind of drops out there and you zip around and come back down. It's a really quick experience. It did cost additional. I don't remember the cost, but I know it included your pictures that they took of you, and you will sign up for that right here underneath at the Crown's Edge desk. And here are the height and weight requirements, as well as the general rules for participation. Now as we proceed forward, we're basically on what I like to call the sun deck because it's above the pool deck and it just has a lot of sun lounge chairs. It also has those casitas, these little colorful buildings that I mentioned you can rent for an additional cost. I'd recommend booking those ahead of your cruise as they will tend to book up quickly. Sea days are typically more expensive than port days, so keep that in mind. And then you will check in for those up here at the Lime and Coconut on deck 16. And that's located right here in the middle. Again, for deck 16, you can only transverse on the port side. The starboard side is open down to 15 or up to 17. So if you want to go forward on 16, you need to do it on the port side over here. And off the Lime and Coconut, they actually have a swim up portion of the bar connected to this pool area located at the forward section. There's also a hot tub here as well. All right, back at our map. So again, we saw all of the back portion came along the port side for the Crown's Edge and Adrenaline Peak. Walked through, saw the upper portion of Lime and Coconut. Swim and Tonic was the swim up portion of the bar with the little pool there. So here at the very forward section, we're at the forward elevators, is the entrance to the suite area, including Coastal Kitchen and the Suite Lounge. So of course the Suite Lounge is where you'll just relax if you're staying in a suite. Coastal Kitchen is a restaurant just for suite guests. It's like an upscale main dining room. And with that covered, we're done with 16 and we can actually head on up to deck 17. Deck 17, now looking at our map, it's a very unique layout. In fact, most of 17 is kind of just cut off here. We're gonna start here at the forward elevator bays. Here we have the entrance to Coastal Kitchen like we saw down below. Suite Lounge was down below here, just the entrance to Coastal Kitchen, so it's just the upper deck level of that. And now we will exit out of the elevator bays, head aft into the Cloud 17 section. And remember on 16, we could only go on the port side. Here on 17, only on the starboard side. Big sunbathing lounge area here to start off with a small pool butted up against the glass overlooking the ocean or the port or wherever you're at the time. And that also butts up against a towel station, which are located throughout the pool deck area and another section of the Lime and Coconut bar if you hadn't gotten tired of it already. And then the lounge chairs just continue out throughout this area, and there's also an elevated hot tub here as well. And now we're just gonna make our way on back. Oh, and still here on the starboard side, almost aft, right before you get to the area where you would go into Thrill Water Park, or Category 6 Water Park, Thrill Island, I should say. This is the smoking section. So here on deck 17, starboard side, if you're looking for that. All right, we're at the aft elevator bay here on deck 17, which is cut off. It's only 3 elevator sections here. Very small, and as you can see, we saw the suite neighborhood at the beginning. We've seen the Cloud 17 Lime Coconut, and now we're in the aft section, which is just the sports court. So we turn back here. It points us to starboard for Cloud 17, which we already saw, but over on the port side, it points us out for the sports court. And as you come out, it funnels you right inside the cages here to the sports court. You see it's a full-size basketball court there. They do have some benches on the side. It is completely glassed and netted in, and high nets, so you don't have to worry about arcing your shot. I'm sure they'll do other activities out here like soccer and dodgeball, and they also have some tiered seating as well. Great views of the water park as well as the port you're in or out to sea. And now that we've covered the sports court, we have also covered deck 17. We head to our final deck, deck 18, and as you can see, it's only in the forward section. Nothing to see here in the aft or midship sections, so we gotta walk back across 17 to get it to 18 forward. All right, deck 18, again, our final deck, and again, nothing aft or midship, only here at the forward section, and there's really not too much to show here, especially because I don't really have access to it. Right off the forward elevators here, we find the entrance to the Grove, and as it says, it is the suite sun deck area, and there's also a small restaurant area in there as well, just for suite guests. Again, I don't have access to it. I can't get you in there right now. I think I was able to film it on Icon of the Seas. It should be basically exactly the same, so if you'd like to see what that's like, check out our Icon of the Seas ship tour where you can see that, but this is just for suite guests only. Doesn't really affect the majority of the people. Well, there you have it, friends. That is our tour of Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. We hope you enjoyed that. And if you're interested in more Star of the Seas content, be sure to check out our entire playlist. You'll find this ship tour as well as our room and suite tours. We saw almost every category of room and suite on the ship, as well as our daily videos where we show you some of the detailed looks at the different dining options or different activities you can do on board. Lots of fun stuff that we got onto got into on our 3-night trade event sailing. And hey, if you're interested in sailing on board Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas, we can help make that happen. Any other Royal Caribbean vessel, we can do that too. We are travel agents. We partner directly with Royal Caribbean. That's why we run this trade event sailing. We're one of their top producers, and our services are completely free to you. We will never charge any fees, costs whatsoever, and you'll never pay a single cent more to book with us than you would direct on your own. So please feel free to reach out via the travel agent information that you can find in the description of this video. And if you recently booked your Royal Caribbean cruise within the past 30 days and you're not paid in full, you can transfer to our agency. That's free of charge as well, and then we'll be able to assist you the rest of the way. So either way, we hope we will hear from you soon. Once again, thank you for joining us for today's video, but we're signing off, and we'll see you next time. Happy travels!